Alright, today we're going to discuss a fundamental challenge of current models: catastrophic forgetting. This phenomenon occurs when a system learns something new, and in doing so, loses accuracy in what it already knew. And what we see in today's models is that yes, they can be retrained, but they lack the ability to continuously incorporate new experiences without breaking previous knowledge. They continue to function as if erasing their previous state to readjust everything from scratch. For years, we've seen enormous improvements in architectures and optimization algorithms, yet this issue remains unsolved, because memory in these systems is limited to what was fixed during pre-training and what fits in the context window during each use. There's no solid gradient between distant past learning and what's happening in real time. When we compare this to the human brain, we find a clear structural difference. Our brain has different updating rhythms and neuroplasticity, the ability to adjust each part at different speeds depending on the type of information. Thanks to this, we remain anchored in the present moment. If the brain lacked this ability, it would be like living in a state similar to anterograde amnesia. What's surprising is that LLMs behave very similarly in this extreme case. Either they remember because they memorized it during training, or they only exist in that moment without real consolidation ability. In the proposal we're analyzing, NESTED learning from Google, the idea presents a model not as a single optimization process, but as a structure of multiple learning processes organized in levels, each with its own update frequency. Instead of a flat stack of layers all learning at the same rate, the proposal envisions it as integrated systems learning simultaneously but at different speeds. In this view, architecture and parameter tuning aren't independent concepts. The proposal states that both form a single system. Models, layers, attention, feed-forward, even the optimizer itself. All are associative memory mechanisms adjusting their internal state based on data novelty. This interpretation makes everything a transparent system, no longer an external process operating on the model, but part of the model itself. This opens the door to reinterpreting known improvements as forms of associative memory, including strategies like normalizing optimization space, preconditioning gradients, or introducing non-linearities in the update path. On the architectural level, this translates into a proposal called a continuous memory system. This system defines a set of blocks with different update frequencies, creating a spectrum beyond just long-term or short-term memory. One block updates at each step, another every few steps, and others at even wider intervals. Based on this, they've developed a model called HOPE, built on a memory-loaded design called Titans. Titans already handled long-term memory, but only with two frequencies, fast and slow. HOPE extends this to an open chain of layers that can have as many learning scales as needed. In other words, it's not limited to just two. This design allows a model to refine not only its representation, but also how it changes its own learning approach. This means it self-adjusts its own update algorithm and not only manipulates weight, but also modifies how those weights are updated. The result is its own feedback loop. In language task tests, perplexity measurements, and reasoning evaluations, this design has shown advantages over standard tools by eliminating the historical separation between model and training algorithm, proposing them as a single structure. For us, this means trying to close the gap between rigid systems and those that retain experience like the human brain. We're not talking about simply expanding capacity, but about a system where different parts learn at different speeds to preserve prior experience without losing adaptability. Although this research is just beginning, initial results suggest this could be a real step toward models that don't just accumulate parameters but can continuously modify themselves without erasing what came before.